That's why I see it as this is a cultural revolution, but you don't see it. Most Americans, they have no idea.
Well, my friends, we are here with Xi Van Fleet, who just spoke at the Bringing America Back to Life conference. And very interesting, she speaks from what she experienced in communist China. And what's very interesting is that she says she recognizes that communism in America and Canada and many other places, yet most of us don't see it. So we're going to find out what she's seeing and how to identify it ourselves. Stay tuned. Xi Van Fleet, welcome to the program. God bless you. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
So tell us a little bit about your background, what you experienced growing up in China.
Well, I was born in 1959, as I mentioned, it's the beginning of the 3-year famine that killed up to 50 million Chinese. But my real memory started with the Cultural Revolution. I was in my first grade when it started in 1966. And the Cultural Revolution lasted for 10 years, and that's pretty much my entire school years. After I graduated from high school, I was into the countryside, millions of Chinese urban youth to get our so-called re-education. And only after Mao died, I was able to go to college, and in 1986, I was able to come to America. So I experienced this entire Chinese Cultural Revolution. And so what I saw is happening here.
Sure.
So, and the turning point, of course, is 2020. And so that, to me, it's the full-blown Marxist Cultural Revolution that's taking place in America. And the people in China were cheering. And they said, oh, look at America. They got their own Cultural Revolution. They knew it. I know it because we know history and we experience the Cultural Revolution. Yet for most of Americans, they have no idea.
Yeah.
A lot of them, they were shocked. A lot of people were totally shocked to what happened to our country, but they have no idea. This is Marxist Cultural Revolution.
This is the thing, whenever we hear of communism, we think, it's a system of sort of sharing and saying that, you don't own too much stuff, but we didn't see it like that. How do you identify this as communism, as Marxism? How do you see it? It seems like most of us are blind. We just don't know what we're looking for.
Yeah, because it's not being taught here. It's not taught in school. It's not talked about in media. So people don't know. Actually, people knew. Earlier generations, they heard about it. They learned it in school, and the people who experienced Cuban Missile Crisis remember that communism was just right there, right? It's coming here any moment. But after that, it's just wiped out from the memory, and it's intentional. It's really intentional. So not only that, they don't know much about communism. They were taught, just like you said, communism is all about sharing. Just like Tim Watts, the vice president candidate.
Oh. Yeah,
Tim Watts. Yeah, he said it's about sharing. Yeah. So make sure everyone has the same. Yeah. Everyone never had the same. And but that is the what I call this kind of a classic communism. It's a class struggle, right? It's class struggle. It's the rich versus the poor. And that brand of communism is still here. And I would say its typical representative is Bernie Sanders. Well, at first it's 95% versus 5%. Now he becomes 99% versus 1%, right? Yeah. But what I'm talking about is not quite that. It is cultural Marxism. It is a new kind of a breed of Marxism. And it's played typical, the hallmark is identity politics. And so everyone gets a label. And that's what happened to hundreds of millions of Chinese in Mao's China. We all got a label. And our label is based on our class. And you either belong to this red class, which means you are the allies of the revolution, or you belong to the black class, meaning you're the enemy of the state. When everyone get a label, and then you divide the people into two camps, what they do? They fight each other. And that's what they wanted. The Cultural Revolution is really about division of Chinese people into them and us. And you don't have to do anything. You don't have to say anything. You can simply belong to a wrong group, and you become the enemy of the class. So during the Cultural Revolution, Mao said that the reactionary intellectual authority was our enemy. So who are those people? Well, for the young indoctrinated kids, it's the teachers, the principals, the professor, and that's what they go after. You don't have to, as I said, you don't have to do anything or say anything. You belong to the wrong class, and then you are the enemy. The first killing took place in China during the Cultural Revolution was a bunch of schoolgirls, not boys. They're all girls, middle school. They took out their principal, gave a struggle session, denounced her, beat her up, tortured her, and then killed her. And those schoolgirls, and they were just teenagers. Why would they do this? You say, are they monsters? Well, yeah, they were turned into monsters because they were taught this principle belonged to the enemy class. When you belong to the enemy, someone belongs to enemy class, you need to eradicate them. That just overnight, with that kind of ideology, they turned young girls into killers. And this is the same thing happening here. Now, they divided Americans into oppressors and oppressed, which is a term that we use all our lives during the Cultural Revolution. So who are the oppressed and who are the oppressors? Well, they determine, right? They determine. So if you're white, if you're male, if you're straight, if you're Christian, if you're middle class, whatever, you are the enemy class.
And yet, they call you the oppressor.
Yes.
But even though they're the ones being oppressed.
Same thing in China. They took their land, they took the properties of those people, labeled them oppressor, and labeled them the oppressor, and make the label hereditary. So your properties were gone, your land were gone, but you become the oppressor forever, and your children and children's children become oppressors. That's why I see it as this is a cultural revolution, but you don't see it. Most Americans have no idea. So political identity is their weapon. And also the other thing is that who are the ones that we see them on the streets doing all these riots? Young people, right? Young people. How could they mobilize those young people? It's because they own the schools. They control schools. They control universities. That's exactly what happened in China. Those Red Guards, yes, they were indoctrinated kids. They were so indoctrinated, they have no idea what's right, what's wrong. They just answer the command. Their command is from Chairman Mao. They said, those people are bad people, go after them. It's just that simple. And so, cancel culture. What did they do during the Cultural Revolution? They cancel everything. Everything that's old is called 4 O's. Old ideas, old culture, old habits, and old custom.
Sure.
So that is basically Chinese civilization. They all need to be destroyed. Statues pulled down, names of institutions, streets, roads have to be changed into become revolutionary, and even personal names. And those a lot of young kids change their personal name to be revolutionary. And so books burned. The only book we have when the Cultural Revolution started, the school were closed because teachers were ousted. The principals were ousted by kids. So no school for 2 years by the time we came back to school, and I was in 4th grade. And we have one textbook, that Mao's Little Red Book. Have you heard about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. We read it from beginning to the end and back and forth until a year later, new textbook came out. And then it's just a little red book in math, in Chinese, in English. It's just nothing but indoctrination. And then we're experiencing the same thing here. History rewritten. One of the popular history teaching material in America today is what? 1619, which rewrote the history that American is founded on slavery. So they rewrote it. And then that's exactly what happened in China. Chinese civilization is all bad, all has to be canceled, destroyed, and then there's only one correct ideology, and that's Marxism, that's Maoism.
What happens when you saw, like the young people here, they were indoctrinated in schools, but one of the things we saw the most was this trans ideology, and how is that used in a communist way?
Yeah. I call it cultural revolution. I did not call it a cultural movement. It's a revolution. They're going to destroy everything. They're going to destroy social order. They're going to destroy norms. And that's what happened in China. Even though there's no such thing as transgenderism, because there's no need. Mao did exactly what he wanted without having to go as to transgenderism, but he destroyed gender norm. He told young people that there's no difference between men and women. Whatever men can do, women can do better. Have you heard about this? Women can hold half the sky? And Biden quoted that in his speech without knowing that it's from Mao. So, yeah, before we had superwoman, in China we had iron girls. Yeah, really? The girls were just encouraged to think, act, dress like men. And so if you look at the pictures in the 60s and 70s, it's just a sea of the sameness. And there's just a little distinction between male and female, because that's what we're taught.
No haircut, everything.
Haircut, yeah, there's a little bit, but the same dress code.
Yeah.
It's all a sea of gray. But it's more than that. It's just what the young girls were led to believe, that there's no difference. So that's their way of destroy gender roles. And so Mao wrote a poem and said the Chinese women don't like makeup. They like to carry weapons. Yeah, they treated us and they said the femininity is toxic. Femininity is weak. He wanted revolutionaries. He did not want weak, feminine women. To me, he did exactly the same thing here, only that he did not have to go that far to destroy gender roles. Because anything normal, anything that is traditional, he hates. And he has to destroy them all.
Before I continue, are you enjoying this video? Do you appreciate the news at LifeSite News? Well, then please consider supporting us. At LifeSite News, we're not just reporting the news, we're changing lives every day. And our content equips people to stand for life, faith, family, and freedom in a world desperate for hope. But freedom isn't free. It costs to bring you life-changing content. If you believe in this mission, then join us. Go to lifesitenews.com/donate and be part of the fight. Because truth changes lives and freedom is worth fighting for. What else did you see in America that you would have said, oh, that's so obviously a Marxist revolution or cultural revolution?
To me, it's you have to see what they want to destroy. And I explained what they want. They want to destroy anything normal, anything that's traditional, anything that means dear to people.
Yeah.
They want to get rid of it.
Right.
But why? That's, I think, a question. Why they're doing it? Why Mao did all this? Mao launched the Cultural Revolution because he was, he felt that he was losing power because of his disastrous policies such as the Great Leap Forward that ended up in the famine that killed up to 50 million Chinese. He wanted his power back. And how? Well, he could have done with the army, but that looked like a coup, right? He used the young people. So cultural revolution is a power struggle of Mao, the war on his own party, the war on his own government, because he felt like he was no longer in control. And he was willing to go as far as using the young people and take down the power from his political enemy. And in the process, destroy the entire country. That is how far a dictator were willing to go for political reasons. And I say the same thing here. The same thing is here. What they're doing is for power. In order to for them to get power, they are willing to divide American people, to get the young people, and to have riot, to have chaos, and in the process, they hope they can get power.
So all that stuff we were seeing about the BLM riots, of them bringing down statues and all of that, that's all of a piece. That's all one sort of program, if you will.
That's exactly, to me, there's no difference. And so when you don't know the history, you think it's something new, but it's not. It's really not. Actually, the American Cultural Revolution did not start in 2020. It started in the 60s and the 70s. It started at the same time that Mao was having his own cultural revolution. But here it's called counterculture. That, to me, is the phase one of the woke revolution. And they did a lot of damage. If you remember, those days, they really attacked church. The feminists try to attack the family, try to attack marriage. That is their cultural revolution. But back then, I would say that they haven't able to reach the critical mass. And eventually, after the war, Vietnam War ended, they kind of died down. But they didn't, really didn't. So those activists, they did not give up. They went to work. They become tenured professors. They used the next few decades to produce new Marxists. And that's what we see today. That's what we see. They are in our institutions, and they are on the streets, and now they are about to overthrow our foundation. Because to them, America is not worth saving. America is so racist and need to be condemned, need to be destroyed, and bring something new. What is that? That's Marxism.
So one of the interesting things that happened in the 60s was abortion, but it got brought on as it's all about women's rights. This is not about, killing children or anything. You had a similar thing going on in China. I have a friend, Stephen Mosher, who was the first one to bring to America the knowledge about the Chinese forced abortion. In America, we would look to China and think, oh, it's horrible, it's forcing abortion. But here we have a free choice, and it's all wonderful. Tell us what you see in that.
I know. Yeah. This is very interesting. That's how I looked at it. I hate the forced abortion. So when I came here, and then I saw the Americans, they demonstrate and they want their rights. I said, maybe it's okay, because they are looking, they are defending their rights. So for the longest time, I was like, it's not forced, so it's not bad. But now we know it's bad because they share the same root. The root is both communism and the progressivism, they have one thing they share in common. They hate God. Both of them. Because they hate God and they don't respect life. So in China, it is just like I explained, they regard human life as resources to be exploited, to be discarded. It all depends on the party's interest or what the states need, right? But in America, they are more cunning. They are very, very deceptive. They package it in such a way that, and then they convince the young women they want it.
Yeah.
That's their right. So I always say that it is much easier to deal with Chinese who never experienced freedom. They never had rights. They always live under some kind of totalitarian or authoritarian rules. They just never learn and experienced freedom. But to deal with people here and who understands such a thing as freedom and understand such a thing as their rights, you have to be more deceptive. And so I would say Marxists in America, they are much, much more deceptive than Mao needed to be.
For U.S. residents, creating a will has never been easier. Thanks to My Legacy Will, an online platform free of charge, you can now create your own will and choose to include LifeSite News in it, specify where your funeral will take place, the number of masses to be offered for your soul, and how your estate will be distributed. We would be deeply grateful if you remembered LifeSite News in your will. Visit mylegacywill.com/LifeSite News. Thank you for your support, and may God bless you.
Mao did it for power, yet, and it's the same for America, you know, the elite leadership, they understand this is being done for power, but all of the minions, if you will, all the people who work under them, who give their lives to promoting this kind of cultural revolution, they don't get the power. But why are they doing it? What's motivating them?
I know. This is something I give a lot of thoughts to. And then basically your question is, who are attracted to the Marxist ideology, right? Who are attracted to communism? And I think there's quite a few different motivations. One of them is, I call it Bernie Sanders followers. They just want stuff. They want the free stuff. They want the government to take care of them, right? And there's another group. They are a real problem. And in China, we had the same kind of a group that supported communism and helped them to gain power. Those are the educated elites. And those people, you think they don't want power, they do. They feel like they know better, right? They feel like they have this duty to help the uninitiated mass. They don't know. We're going to help them. We're going to tell them this is the better way of to live. And they also have the need to make themselves feel better, and that they somehow is helping the oppressed, the marginalized, the poor or whatever. I think those are the ones that we're dealing with, is that they push this. And they have, well, a lot of them do have the power because they are in position of power. They feel like they are doing something good. And a lot of Christians are doing the same thing. They feel like they are being true Christians. And so how? Then you respect, you have compassion to people, right? The people say they are, and they identify as women, even though they're men. Being a Christian, you want to be good. You want to be compassionate. You want to be kind. You want to be loving. So you say, yes. And so I think those are the motivations of people. Why there's so many people just wanted to do that. And then another thing I think is this concept of guilt. So many people were sold this idea that they are just guilty. They are guilty of being white. they're guilty of being wealthy, so they have to redeem themselves. And how? Mm-hmm. By jump on the woke wagon.
Yeah.
By saying yes to people who are men, but saying yes, you're women. And what they really do is that they want to be good so bad that they would rather not be truthful because they want to be good.
Have you ever thought that perhaps this whole phenomenon, particularly for that group you're talking about, the ones who are like carry this forward, almost like apostles, they're like totally into it. It's just for them, it's an actual religion. Because you said
it is a religion,
right? So you said earlier they hate God.
Yeah,
they left the true God, and they have this new religion that they carry forward. It's interesting you say about guilt, because it is true that apart from your belief in God, you have this conscience inside you, which is sort of like the voice of God, but so hidden and you don't understand it. Yeah. But it does make you feel guilty for all the sins you commit, the real sins, you know. But you can sort of make that guilt sort of go away if you give it to some other reason, right? So you find resonance with that?
Yeah, I think there's a word for it. It's called 白左. Have you ever heard about it? No. It's the Chinese calling those white liberals. It's called 白 means white, 左 means left. So the white liberals. So they are the real problem. They absolutely believe in this religion. And so still some people think that communism is an economic theory or ideology. It's not. It's a religion. Huh. It's an absolute religion. They don't believe in family. They don't believe in God. So it's written in the Communist Manifesto. They don't believe in ownership, private ownership, but they don't believe in family. They want to destroy family. So it is a religion, absolutely a religion. And that's why you see those people are just so passionate, right? Mm-hmm. Passionate about it. And because they are disciples of woke religion.
Mm-hmm. Who is the God in that religion?
The state. The state, yes. It's those in power. And they determine what it is. And then they don't say, oh, I want you to worship state. They say, we do this for the good of people. That's why cultural Marxism is so deceptive. They say, we doing it for the poor, the marginalized, the oppressed, but what they really want is power.
What do you think is a way out, especially for America? That this is old America from 8 weeks ago, but what do you think is the way out?
I think we have a fighting chance, and I think I do believe that. Donald Trump is the first president who not only understands communism, like Ronald Reagan, he brought down Soviet Union, but Trump was the one who realized the communism threat in our country. And then the first thing he did is abolish DEI. Mm-hmm. He realized DEI is really communist. Yeah. And so I think now we have a fighting chance, but we won a battle, a very, very important battle, but we haven't won the war yet. And so that's why I think we all have so much work to do. Yeah. We have to save our church, save our school, save our institutions, so that we can start changing people's worldview. Our worldview today has been really colored by Marxism. Yeah. We have to go back to the biblical worldview. I think it's a challenge, but we have to do it. In order to save America, we have to do it.
Any hopes for China?
People ask me that. I'm not concerned about China right now. I want to save America. I think once America is saved, we have the opportunity to save China and to save other countries under communism. But I think now my number one focus is here.
Yeah.
Is here.
One last question for you. I'm from Canada. What do you think of Canada in communism and the Cultural Revolution?
Yeah, Canada is fallen. I think so is Australia and New Zealand and the UK and the whole West. I think that is the challenge we're facing. We are the last stand to save the West.
Xi Van Fleet, so good to be with you. Thank you for speaking with us.
Thank you.
God bless you, and God bless all of you, and we'll see you next time.
Hi everyone, this is John Henry Weston for LifeSite News. We hope you found this video insightful. For more content like this, be sure to check out the links in the description below. You can also follow us on social media to stay updated on the latest news concerning life, faith, family, and freedom. Thanks for watching, and may God bless you.